Imagine if Zeus, Poseidon, and Hermes decided to meet up for a cup of coffee. The conversation would be, no doubt, quite divine. This humorous thought takes us into the profound depths of the history of religions. A tale not just of beliefs and rites but of how these beliefs have shaped our world, wars, peace, and the endless quest for the meaning of life. Long before the first temple foundations were laid, early humans gazed at the stars and spun tales about them. From animism, where every whispering wind might have been a spirit, to the grand mythologies that explained seasons and stars, religion has always been a theater of the human mind. These stories were not merely tales, they served as society's first laws, moral guides, and historical records. As tribes merged and civilizations grew, these spiritual beliefs transformed into complex systems of gods and goddesses. Ancient Egyptians didn't just build pyramids, they built stairways to the heavens, a direct link between their pharaohs and the gods. This early relationship between the divine and the mundane set the stage for everything that followed. Religion, in its nascent stages, was intertwined with every aspect of life, guiding moral decisions, social structures, and even governance. The spiritual was never separate from the societal. It was a necessary glue that held early communities together. In ancient times, it wasn't politics but the gods that held the real power, or so believed the rulers of great civilizations like Egypt and Mesopotamia. The pharaoh was not just a king, he was a god on earth, his authority unquestioned because it was divine. Similarly, in the valleys of Mesopotamia, rulers would often ascend to power backed by claims of heavenly selection. These claims were not without their benefits. They unified vast populations under a single creed, making administration easier and rebellion less likely. Religion was the ultimate tool of governance, as it offered both carrot and stick, the promise of heavenly favor and the threat of divine wrath. In the Americas, the Aztec emperors ruled with a mandate from the gods, requiring human sacrifices to ensure the sun would rise each day. This might sound barbaric now, but it was a powerful testament to how deeply religion could be woven into the fabric of a culture, influencing everything from agricultural practices to warfare. While priests and prophets laid down the laws, it was the philosophers who asked the tough questions. In ancient China, Confucius wasn't just teaching good manners, he was outlining a spiritual and social roadmap that continues to influence billions. Over in Greece, Plato's allegory of the cave explored the nature of reality and divine illumination long before the world had heard of motion pictures. These thinkers were the rock stars of their day, touring city-states and courts, challenging the status quo and refining the divine narrative. Their ideas didn't just fill scrolls, they filled minds, pushing societies to evolve and sometimes to revolt. The ripple effects of their philosophies were profound, influencing religious and secular thought alike. The concepts of morality, ethics, and the soul found in many modern religions can trace their roots back to these intellectual giants. From the serene teachings of Buddha under the Bodhi tree to the fiery sermons of Jesus in the deserts of Judea, the origins of the world's major religions read like scripts from blockbuster epics. Each of these religions started with a revolutionary idea, a new way to see the divine and relate to it. Hinduism, with its complex tapestry of gods and goddesses, offers a spiritual spectrum as diverse as India itself. Buddhism, in contrast, sought liberation through inner peace and mindfulness, a path tread quietly by millions across Asia. The monotheistic trail blazed by Judaism was radically different at the time, focusing worship on a single, all-powerful deity. These religions didn't just stay put, they traveled, morphed, and mingled. Christianity spread its wings on Roman roads, while Islam galloped alongside traders and conquerors across continents. Each adaptation, each translation added layers to these beliefs, making them richer and occasionally more contentious. It wasn't all peaceful pilgrimages and philosophical debates, sometimes it was sword and shield. The Crusades, a series of religious wars sanctioned by the Latin Church in the medieval period, were as much about heavenly reward as they were about earthly riches. They left a trail of blood from Europe to the Holy Lands, a testament to the destructive power of religious fervor. These conflicts were not mere footnotes in religious texts. They shaped the geopolitical landscapes of their times and left legacies of bitterness and division. The Reconquista, the prolonged struggle for the Iberian Peninsula, was fueled by religious rivalry between Muslim and Christian kingdoms, reshaping the cultural and religious map of Western Europe. Religion, wielded as a weapon, could unify thousands under a single banner or splinter them into warring factions, showing that faith could be both a force for great unity and great division. When Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses to the door of Wittenberg's castle church, he wasn't just starting a theological debate, he was lighting the fuse of a religious and political powder keg that would echo through centuries. The Protestant Reformation challenged the very foundations of the Catholic Church, leading to wars, schisms, and the birth of numerous Protestant denominations. This period was marked by a significant shift in how people viewed authority and interpreted the divine word. No longer were scriptures and religious texts solely in the hands of the clergy. Now, they were subject to personal interpretation, leading to a democratization of religious belief that had far-reaching consequences. The Reformation set the stage for modern secularism and the questioning of absolute authority, both religious and secular, paving the way for modern democratic societies. As Europe emerged from the Middle Ages, the Age of Enlightenment brought a new wave of thinking that questioned traditional doctrines and championed reason and empirical evidence. Philosophers like Voltaire and Diderot critiqued the Church and its dogmas, advocating for tolerance, freedom of thought, and the separation of church and state. This period did not reject spirituality altogether, but it did challenge the way it had been institutionalized. The Enlightenment laid the groundwork for modern science and the rationalism that would dominate intellectual and philosophical thought in the centuries to come, reducing the role of religion in public life but also refining its role in personal and spiritual realms. The skepticism of this era didn't just clear the cobwebs off old dogmas, it opened windows to fresh air, encouraging a religion that was more personal, less dogmatic, and more aligned with the evolving human understanding of the world and the cosmos. The discovery and colonization of the Americas opened up not just new lands but new spiritual frontiers. Religious missions accompanied conquerors and settlers, each eager to imprint their faith on the new world. However, what emerged was not just a transplantation of old world beliefs but the birth of entirely new ones like Mormonism, which synthesized European Christian traditions with uniquely American elements. These new denominations often reflected the rugged individualism and pioneering spirit of their followers, embodying the essence of the American experience. At the same time, indigenous beliefs were not entirely overshadowed, but instead often syncretized with the incoming European faiths, creating unique hybrid religions that are still observed by communities today. This era of religious innovation showed that faith could adapt and evolve, reflecting the needs and realities of its adherents, rather than remaining a static, unchanging doctrine. The 20th century, with its world wars, revolutions, and rapid social changes, saw religion playing multiple roles, as a comforter to those in trenches, a moral guide in times of peace, and sometimes regrettably, as a divider. The world wars in particular brought complex interplays of nationalism and religious identity, with each side often believing they had divine backing. Post-war periods saw an explosion in new religious movements, from the peaceful meditations of the Hare Krishna to the controversial teachings of Scientology. These movements reflected the global nature of the 20th century, drawing on diverse traditions and modern psychological concepts, offering new paths to spiritual fulfillment. This century also witnessed the rise of interfaith dialogue and the beginning of a global conversation on the nature of faith and its role in a world that was rapidly shrinking due to advances in technology and communication. The digital age has transformed every aspect of human life, and religion is no exception. Online sermons, virtual reality church services, and religious apps have made religion more accessible than ever. This has allowed for an unprecedented spread of ideas, and also sparked debates about the nature of community and worship in the digital era. Social media has given rise to new religious leaders, whose followings rival those of traditional churches. At the same time, the anonymity and reach of the internet have also fueled extremist ideologies and hate speech, presenting new challenges for religious communities and leaders. The future of religion may well be shaped by how it adapts to these digital transformations, either by embracing new technologies to spread timeless messages, or by resisting changes that might dilute its traditions. As we've journeyed through the epics, from starry myths to digital deities, one thing remains clear. The human quest for spiritual understanding and community is enduring. Religion, in various forms, has shaped societies, fueled conflicts, inspired peace, and provided solace to countless generations. Today, as we stand in a world more interconnected yet possibly more divided than ever, religion continues to play a crucial role. It challenges us to find common ground, even as it celebrates the unique spiritual narratives that different cultures and individuals bring to the global table. Faith, whether placed in deities, doctrines, or spiritual philosophies, remains a central part of the human experience, reflecting our deepest fears, highest hopes, and unending quest for understanding. In this light, the history of religion isn't just a series of events, but a mirror reflecting our collective human journey.